This is the live webinar regarding request support training. My name is Alice Cloud with the IT Service Desk here at DII. I'm also sitting with Leslie Baker, who's also a Service Desk Specialist with DII, and she will be answering questions off of the console if you want to ask a question in your panel. Otherwise, I'm going to give you the information and she will answer your questions, but I will stop and ask her if there are some things that should be announced to everybody. So, just to get going here, the LANDesk request support system module was put in to be able to replace two IT ticketing systems, one for AHS called Trackit and the other one for DII called Footprints. And so this is now the place where you put in a request support ticket for all areas. And this training will be focused on how to submit an IT support ticket. Now, when do you want to use a request support IT ticket to report issues? Well, when something is broken and doesn't work, kind of like what I have up here for examples of, let's say the printer's not working and you might need to have the printer queue cleared, or just to report that your printer's not working, or if you're having Outlook, email, or calendar issues, or some kind of program that you're trying to get into that doesn't seem to be working right or is kicking back an error message. If you're having connection problems to the network or the internet, that is when you'd want to use a request support ticket. But also it's for when you want to have an IT service performed. And that would be like wanting to create or remove security groups or shared folders from the Active Directory. You want to create or remove an email distribution list that's in the global address list. Also, if you have software that needs to be updated or installed at times, need to have it installed, you would put in a request support ticket. And also simple global address list changes, you can also use request support, kind of like here where I said you have your phone number is wrong in the GAL or your address is wrong in the GAL. Then if you put in a support ticket, then it will be worked on and taken care of for you. So those are the basic functions of request support. Sometimes there's other types of things that you might request in this area that I'm not drilling down specifically on. I do want to point out that LANDesk does have a training site. It is out on DII's website. To go to LANDesk training. There's a lot of valuable information there. There is a guide out there that you can read through, and this tutorial, there's a tutorial regarding request support out there. So the training site does have some valuable information, so I definitely recommend that you go out there. Plus it is updated when we get more information, or when the system has been enhanced and changes have been made to it that will hopefully be better for you to understand what's going on. So logging into LANDesk, there is two different types of logins. One is an automatic authentication for people who are in the VSMS domain, the tax domain, or the AHS domain. When you log into your computer in the morning and you bring up an internet browser and you put in this address here for IT support, it will automatically bring in LANDesk's homepage because it authenticates against your Windows login credentials. If you have a different domain, other than these three up above here, let's say labor or DFR, you open up your internet browser and put in the IT support, but then you have to use the word logon at the end, and it brings up an explicit login where it asks for a username, which would be your email address, and then you would log on. There is no password, it's your email address. One thing I do want to note to you, though, is that it is a secure website. So if you're working remotely, you need to either VPN in or Citrix in first before you bring up your browser to bring up this support ticket for LANDesk. do also recommend that you save this as a favorite, either on your favorites bar or in your favorites drop down. So when you do put that address in, this is the LANDesk homepage, and I want to just go over it briefly with you. That over here on the left, you're on Support Home right now, which is the home page. Here's the button to start a ticket, a request ticket, and then there's a queries button for being able to look at tickets that you have been closed, that you've submitted. I'm hiding a button here because there are some people who have additional permissions for another module in LANDesk that they would have this button. We do have helpful links, and as you can see, their training site is also a link on the helpful links, the service desk hours of operation, and our phone number. This is the area that you will, focus on for your current activity. When you submit a ticket, that ticket will go into what we call your queue. And so you will have, if you've submitted something, it will show up here, and then you would click on these little arrows here and expand to show you what tickets are inside. There's headers across the top of summary, request type, current status. Summary and current status are the two headings I want to bring your attention to, because this is information inside the ticket that does show up on your dashboard, which is your home page, to show you what that ticket is summarized about that you've put into there. Over here on the right-hand side, we do have a notice board, and as you can see, it's to let you know of things that might be going on. Right now, there's an on-base maintenance that's happening, and also I had put out the information about this training. There is an area about major incidences that if a ticket's been submitted and it ends up being that it's affecting lots of users, then that ticket can be escalated up to a major incident, and it'll post out here for you to be able to see what is happening, and might be able to recognize that it's also happening to you. So major incidents, which were similar to what they called global tickets, are out here on LANDesk's homepage, but we also do post major incidences out on DII's website also. So that is your homepage in a nutshell. You'll be mostly looking at this current activity area of tickets that you've submitted, or when you go to request support. So under that status area of current statuses, there will be some statuses for you to see at what place the ticket is in. So when you first submit the ticket, when you hit save and close and submit the ticket goes into an open status, which means that an analyst can then go out and assign themselves to work on whatever the situation is. When they do assign themselves to the ticket, the status then changes to in progress. So you'll be able to see when somebody has actually taken on the ticket. With customer, that is a status that you'll want to pay attention to, because if you are looking at your dashboard homepage and see that your ticket is with customer, that means that that ticket is actually now back in your hands to be able to answer a question that the analyst may have. So you would have been sent an email from LANDesk with the question that the analyst is asking you, and so you can reply to the email to give them the answers to what they're wondering about, or you can actually open the ticket and add a note to reply to the question that the analyst will have. But that status of with customer means that the analyst is waiting for you to give them some more information. There is another status out there called with third party, which means that the ticket is not being worked on so much by the analyst at the moment, but they have requested that an outside party give them some information before they can actually then work on your ticket some more. So if you see with third party that your ticket is being worked on, just that it's kind of being in a holding situation where the analyst is waiting for an outside person to give them some more information. So those are the most common dashboard statuses you'll see. I'm not sure if what other ones that there may be out there for request support. So when you do hit the Request Support button, what opens up is this form right here. It's a new incident. As you can see, it's not very long. We've tried to be more customer friendly about being able to put in a quote-unquote trouble ticket or I need IT service ticket, so you don't have as much confusing information that you would need to put in there. So just to go over this a little bit before I will live demonstrate this ticket for you, is that if you are putting in a ticket for yourself, you do not need to fill in these top two fields because behind the scenes when you logged into LANDesk, it knows that you are the one that are submitting this ticket. But we do ask that you fill in the phone number again. We do get some information behind the scenes on the phone number, but we need you to fill in your phone number again because the phone number may not be up to date. You might be at a different location. You might want your cell phone number in there. So we'd want you to put your phone number in again. And it is a mandatory field. The little asterisks and the blue boxes mean that these are mandatory fields. Your physical location, we ask that you put that in again to give us where you are at, you know, your office, or if you are in a remote location, maybe you would need to have a technician come out and see you. They would need to know where to go. Or sometimes the information that's behind the scenes doesn't narrow it down enough to what floor you're on or what room you're in. So this information is very helpful for a technician to be able to come and see you if they need to. In the department area, there is a drop-down list that comes up, but it's also an auto predictor box where if you just start typing the call letters of your department, then it will auto predict and make the choices come up of just that what you're asking for to come up for you to pick from, and I'll demonstrate that. Otherwise, there's pages you'd have to scroll through to pick your department. So this is a drop-down field. Now, before I get to the area below, I do want to come back up to the top and discuss the fact that if someone has asked you to put in a ticket on their behalf, because let's say their computer's not working at all and so they can't submit their own ticket, that you can put one in for someone else and you would put their name in up here. Start typing their last name because, again, it's an auto predictor. With the drop-down, that you start typing the last name of that person and it will try to predict who you're looking for. And when you see them in the drop-down, you click on them and it puts their name in here and pre-populates their email address. Then you would put the phone number of the person you're submitting for, the location of that person, that person's department, which hopefully would be your department if it's a coworker. And then this ticket would then become once you've submitted it, it becomes their responsibility. This is their ticket. It's not something that you need to work on because it goes into their home page in their activity for them to see that what status the ticket is in. In previous trainings, though, I had gotten some questions about the fact that, well, I submit tickets for my commissioner or I'm the admin who does it for my department kind of thing, that if you need the ticket, the issue to show up in your activity, in your queue, then you would need this to not have the person's name up there. You would actually leave it blank for it to show that you've submitted the ticket, and then you would identify below who this issue was about or who this ticket was for. And again, you would identify the phone number and location of that person if you don't put that information in up above. So that's the major difference there, is that if you need a ticket to show up in your home page activity, you don't put anything up there because you're submitting it for yourself on behalf of someone else down in the details of that other person. You can add yourself if you do submit this for someone else but you want to be part of the email stream that happens to this ticket, then you could add yourself as a CC, and I will show you how to do that in a few minutes. In the summary area, this is what actually also shows up in your dashboard. Remember that heading that said summary? This will help you identify that this ticket might be about a monitor not working, or you're getting an error message when you try to get into a certain program. You know, that's what the summary is about. And then the details is where you want to put what's going on. You know, what happened to the monitor, what have you done to try and fix it, or the program if there's an error message, that kind of thing. That's what goes in the details. The summary is basically what that is, to summarize what else you're going to describe down below. Now if you have an error message, you could potentially type the details of the error message, or you could actually take a screenshot or a snippet of the error message, save it onto your computer, and then go and attach that error message to the ticket to be able to show what the error message is saying, as opposed to having to type all into the details. So this, again, is the ticket. That's all the fields that they're asking for. They just want you to be able to put in the details of what's going on. Now, if you have more than one issue happening, you don't put multiple issues in one ticket. You're going to want to submit tickets for different issues, because the issue might go to different technicians to work on. So multiple issues need multiple tickets. Now across the top, as you could see over here on the ticket itself, there are those buttons: Save and Close, Save and Cancel. Those are important buttons, because that's either how you stop doing the ticket altogether by canceling it, because you don't need to do the ticket. You found out that the problem has resolved itself, or oh, you didn't need to have something happen. So you can cancel a ticket that you've already started. Then you've got the Save and Close. Both of these actions actually submit the ticket, but what happens after you hit the Save and Close is what the difference is of those buttons. So Save and Close, you've finished putting all the information into the ticket and you want to submit it, and because you have nothing else that you need to do to it and you want to get it sent off. Then you hit Save and Close. A screen comes up with saying that the ticket has been logged, and to continue to get back to your home page, you click Continue, and there, when you're back at your home page, you can determine whether you need to do another ticket for something else, or you can go back working on whatever you were working on before the issue was taking place. Now if you hit Save, this would be where you hit Save and it submits the information, but it leaves the form open for you, because when you hit Save, there will be some actions that will show up where you could add a CC recipient to the ticket because you want them to be part of the email stream of the ticket. Or let's say you had more than one attachment, because this form here only has the ability to attach one. But if you need more than one attachment, if you hit Save, the actions come up and there's a Save attachment, and you can add another attachment. Then you would, after you're done doing whatever additional actions you want to do, you hit Save and Close, and it closes the ticket, releases the ticket for a technician to then start working on the ticket. If you leave a ticket open in your queue, it leaves it in a locked status, so the ticket can't move anywhere, it can't be worked on. So I want you to recognize that. If you have a ticket open in your queue, then it locks it and it cannot be moved. So those are the three buttons at the top of the form. You will receive emails with LANDesk that when the ticket is triaged, you'll get an email showing that it has been moved and the technicians are going to be able to start working on it. You'll get an email, let's say, if an analyst has a question. So again, that status of out with customer, that an email is sent when an analyst has a question. And the thing that we ask you not to do is change the subject line of the email. When you hit reply, you need to leave the subject line alone, because that's how LANDesk communicates with email to put the information that you're replying into the ticket. If you change the subject line, then it basically goes into no man's land or creates a blank dummy ticket that refers to nothing. So you need to not change the subject line when you reply to an email from LANDesk. When the ticket is closed, you'll get an email saying that the issue has been resolved, and if you have questions, then contact the service desk. So the interaction with the email, again, I kind of went over it before, is not to change the subject line, and when you do reply to the email, it goes into the notes section of the ticket. So when you open a ticket back up again, if you want to see what's been going on inside the ticket, if you haven't been keeping the emails, you can go into the Notes tab at the bottom of the ticket and be able to see what's been happening with that ticket in the notes. This is what shows up when you use that save action after you've put all the information into the new incident. When you hit save, then these actions come up of being able to add attachment, add CC, or add note. And that's basically what I was talking about with the difference between save and close and save. So you can do these things, and once you've done them, you hit save and close and get out of the ticket. But you can see that when you scroll to the bottom of the ticket, depending on what action you've done, it will put a tab down at the bottom of what you're actually, the action that you're trying to add to it. Okay? So just to show you what add a note does, you'd click add a note, a little description box would come out for you to type in what information you wanted to add for a note. You hit save and close. It brings you back to the ticket that you have open, and then you hit save and close to get back to your dashboard homepage. More information needed. Again, that's the out with customer. I just wanted you to see what that looked like. And so the analyst is waiting for you to respond to them. This is what you may see if you go into your dashboard and try and open up a ticket that you've already submitted, and let's say an analyst has it open because they're working on it. You'll see that the ticket is in an open status by someone else and that they can't perform certain duties. Well, this is what an analyst would see, that you would have the ticket open and they can't do certain duties. So I'm bringing this up because sometimes when you submit a ticket, if you've hit save and then over on the right you hit an X or you log out of LANDesk without actually saving and closing the ticket that you had open, it will lock the ticket. So you may get a phone call or an email from someone saying, you have ticket number 59 open and I can't work on it. And you may respond, well, I don't even have LANDesk open. Well, you probably got out of LANDesk before you closed out of the ticket. So what you'd need to do is open LANDesk back up, open up ticket number 59, and then save and close out of it. It kind of seems a little strange to have to do that, but what it needs to do is reopen the ticket for your view, even though you already had it open behind the scenes. So you're going to close out of it so the analyst can then start working on it. This may never happen to you because you may close out of your tickets just fine. I just want you to recognize that you can lock tickets open if you don't exit out of LANDesk appropriately or exit out of your ticket appropriately through save and close or cancel. So now I'd like to go through the LANDesk itself real quick and show you what a live ticket looks like. So in my browser I would have put in that address, and this is the home page that comes up. I do want to identify to you though that I am in a test environment. I'm logged on as test end user, and so this is a little bit different than what you may see. Not a lot, but a little. So here's your home page, your support and your queries button, and your help links in my current activity. So if I want to see what tickets I've submitted so far, I just open up that little caret, and you can see here's my summary of what I put in, the statuses of open, because an analyst hasn't decided to take on my ticket to work on, but it will go to in progress when they have assigned themselves to it. This, of course, is the test environment. That's why it's all like that. So if I want to start a new ticket, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to click on Request Support. Now, the Request Support, let me cancel out of this real quick. What it looks like on your dashboard is a green circle with a question mark inside of it. All right, so there is that difference there. So that is your Request Support button. Here's that area where if I was going to put a ticket in for someone else, let's say Leslie needed me to put in a ticket for her, I'd start typing Baker. As you can see, there's quite a few Bakers there. I can just scroll down and I can find her this way. Or if I wanted to put a comma and an L, whoops, L, it's going to just give me the Bakers with the L's there. So I can then click on her and it pre-populates that. Then I would put her phone number, her location, her department, and the issues here. But then when I hit Save and Close, this will go into Leslie's dashboard, and I will not be able to look at the ticket because it will not be in my dashboard to look at. So let's say Leslie wants me to put in a ticket for her, but I want it to be in my dashboard so I can help with the situation. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in the department phone number, the location, the room. Oop, I fat fingered it. Sorry, people. The room. And any other pertinent information. Let's say you don't have a room number, but you're across from the water cooler. You could do something like that. Right. Oh, yep. Definitely want to put the city that you're in. Now the department here again is that drop down. We work for DII, so I just start typing DII, and it brings up all the DII departments. Let's say you are DCF. You just start typing DCF. It brings up the choices of the DCF departments, divisions. BGS. Again, it's going to bring up those. So you would want to just start doing call letters, and it will help predict what you're looking for. And in the summary, I'm going to say that monitor isn't working. And then, because I'm putting this in for Leslie, I'm going to say, Leslie Baker's monitor is wavy, right, or wavy and flickering. And then I'm going to, put in, her phone number, 828, and whatever her phone number is particularly, all right? And that, we've powered down and restarted, because it's nice to be able to put in the ticket some of the things that you've done to help the issue out on your own. That way you don't have to get a phone call and say, oh, have you restarted your computer? Have you checked all the cords? Have you, gotten out of that program and tried to get back into that program? Those types of things like that. And that way it helps the technician know that these are the things they don't have to look at. They're going to look a little deeper. So at least you'll have tried a few things on your own. So also, let's say this is not if this is a ticket about something that's not something is broken, but it's you're requesting an IT service. Let's say you needed more RAM on the computer, and you know that the mainframe group handles this for you. If you want to identify to help with the triaging of this ticket, that the mainframe group normally helps us with adding RAM to our computer, or just to give us a little bit of help in triage, we will verify that and move the ticket along, but that bit of help will make things a little bit faster, because this is all a learning process for us, and we are getting a lot better than we were on December 1st. So, but it never hurts to describe what you need to have happen, and if some department normally handles it, go ahead and help us with that. Not that things don't change in the future, but that's any little bit helps. Now here is that browse area if you wanted to add a screenshot of an error, or if you needed to attach a form to the ticket, you'd go in and you'd go find it and you double click on it or just click and insert it, and it will then go ahead and add it there. Now, because I'm in the training environment, you normally do not see this down here, okay? Not until after you have submitted the ticket. So this looks like everything that I need to put in on this ticket, and I want to go ahead and submit it. But I also want Leslie to be part of receiving the emails of this, because since I'm putting this in under myself, it's going to be in my queue and not hers. I'm going to hit the Save button instead of the Save and Close. So if I hit Save, it brings those actions up there for you. So I can go ahead and say, all right, I'm going to add a CC, and then I'm going to add Leslie's email address on here, so she will be part of the email stream of this ticket, and she can respond to questions that may be asked along with myself. Whoops. And you got to type it right or it goes out nowhere. All right, I just wanted to let you know about that. If it's typed wrong, this is not going to tell you that it's typed wrong, so you have to make sure. See, I even did that wrong, so I have to make sure that I've done it right. I'm going to hit Save and Close, and you'll see when I scroll down at the bottom under CC Recipient tab, it's got Leslie's name. Okay, so I'm done. I think I'm done at doing this ticket. So now I'm going to hit Save and Close to release incident 1556 for the technicians to be able to now take on and start working on the issue. So I'm going to hit Save and Close. It brings me back to my dashboard. You can see that I now have 5 incidences out there. I'll expand them, and I can see the ticket that I just submitted. And now it's, like I said, in my dashboard, not Leslie's. So I want to pause here for just a moment and see if Leslie has anything that's been happening out there she should talk about.
Thanks, Alice. I did have one concern from Vicki Garfield. The tickets, Alice, if you could go into a new, like you were putting in a new ticket. The fields we require, the phone number, the physical location, and department, they don't automatically fill in with a person's name at this time because frankly we haven't been kept up with all the moves, so we're finding that information isn't always reliable. So in order to get the most up-to-date information on you, we are asking that you type those in. I would like to note though, if you have typed in your phone number, physical location earlier in the day, when you start typing those in, they will show up as a little block under there, and you can just click on it as you start typing that in. So while it doesn't auto-populate, if you've done it once that day, it will give you a small drop-down to use that as an option. That will, however, not be a case with the department. You do actually have to go down through the drop-down. But that's all I have for questions right now, Alice. Thanks.
Yeah, that's great. That is a thing there. Yeah, I'm not sure if it will. So I had already typed 133. So if I start typing 130, no, I don't have the autofill on, I don't think. So you have to have your autofill on in your internet browser for that to start working for you. But it can be helpful if you end up doing multiple tickets in the same day. So let me get back to the presentation real quick here. Now, when a ticket has been worked on and then closed, it will go away from your current activity. It will disappear there. You'll have been sent an email saying that the ticket has been resolved, and then if you want to look at a ticket that you have submitted before and is then closed, you can go into your queries under My Closed Queries and see those tickets and open them up and look at them just to see how you had, what kind of issue you had before or how that issue might have been resolved. Because sometimes if you end up having a similar problem to something you've had before and it was fixed before, you could potentially fix your own problem by seeing how it was resolved before. Maybe not, but sometimes it doesn't hurt just to be able to say, oh yeah, that was how that worked, how that got fixed the last time. Let's see if I can fix it this time before I put a ticket in. All right, so that what will happen is it will open up a query for you in your closed activity, and it'll show all the tickets that were submitted under your name, whether by yourself or by someone else for you, that were in your queue. Will show what tickets were resolved and closed. And the difference between resolved and closed is when an incident, when a problem is been resolved, it will go into a status of 5 business days in resolved in the with the option that, let's say that issue comes back within a couple of days because the resolution or how they fixed it didn't stick. Something else went wrong with that issue. So what you can do is you can call the service desk and let us know that that ticket that was put in that was resolved has reared its ugly head again, and that it needs to be unresolved, and give us a little bit more information so the technician can then work on the problem and hopefully permanently resolve it. And after 5 business days, if the fix has worked and stays working, then the ticket will go into the closed status. So I just wanted you to recognize the difference between resolved and closed. I think I'd like to go in and demonstrate that for you real quick in the area here. So I'm on my home page. I go hover over queries. I click on my closed activity. I have 4 incidences and 2 requests. I open them up, and again I can look at these tickets. Let's say these weren't all just test tickets. Let's say that they're something had broken and had given an error message, and your summary gave that information. You can open that ticket up and you can go look at the resolutions, and in the description of the resolution, hopefully it will describe how they fixed the problem a little bit, or that maybe you can help yourself or see who handled it before, kind of thing. So you can look at those tickets that have been closed or resolved. So we'll cancel back out of it. We'll go back to our home page. I just wanted you to see that, okay, that's how you get to your resolved tickets. Now there is a future enhancement that's being worked on, where in closed activity, as you can see, this is only closed activity that's in your name, but I think they're working on enhancing it so certain departments can look at their own department's tickets, because sometimes I might need to know what Leslie's issues were and how they were resolved, or she might need to know that what I did or how my problem was fixed, or that kind of thing, because we work in the same department. So I think that they're working on that enhancement. It's not out yet, but they are actively trying to get that to be something that's available to the end user. So let me get back to this, and I do want you to recognize out there that there are people with additional permissions to the LANDesk system that is called a user account request. And what you need to recognize is that you can't do a request support form for something that should be done in a user account request. The people who have authorization to put those kind of tickets in are the ones that have to put them in, and that's for asking for accounts to be added to a person or permission changes to be added to a person. They would have to put that stuff in. Somebody who's terminating and needs to have all their accounts removed, file folder accesses that an individual needs to have, that is done by an authorized requester. So you do not do a request support for that. Yeah, the LANDesk will, we will send a note back saying that a user account request needs to be submitted for that action and not a request support. Now, if you think that you should be an authorized requester, I definitely recommend that you contact your supervisor or call the DII service desk here to get more information about it, because there is a process that needs to happen for a person to become an authorized requester. So I did want to point that out. There are things that are only done in this, and there's things that shouldn't be done in user account request that should be done in request support. So it works both ways. Now, if you have issues with LANDesk, something's not working right within LANDesk, you would probably want to put in a request support ticket if you can. Otherwise, give the service desk a call, and we'll try to help you with whatever the problem is that's going on, or we will put a ticket in for you. So request support is the way you're wanting to report problems or report IT service needs, or give the service desk a call. If we can help you, we will. We may say that you will need to put in a request support ticket depending on what the situation is. There is an area out there on DII's website for being able to ask for changes to LANDesk. You know, that's something that you would like to see LANDesk be able to do for your department, or maybe you think it's something that would be good for everyone that LANDesk should be able to do. You can put in a change request. And I kind of gave you an example of that when I said that you know, the closed activity, they're trying to do a change to LANDesk to be able to allow departments to look at their own department's closed activity. Those are the types of changes that you could possibly ask for. Depends on what you're looking for. But there is an place out in DII's website to actually do that request. And then, of course, here's the training site again. So I've gone through it. Hopefully I haven't you know, put you all to sleep, but that is how you do a LANDesk ticket. And if you have any more questions, I recommend that you give the service desk a call, or you can put in a request support ticket. Otherwise, I think I'm going to sign off, and I will be hosting more of these. If you think someone else should take this, that it would be helpful for them, that would be great. Otherwise, there is a tutorial out on the website also. Thank you very much, and have a great afternoon.